Hello, hello. I'm Two from
Hello,
Start Up the TakeOver podcast. This is Latrice.
and this is Kim. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
All right. So, how was your day today, Kim?
It was okay. A little pain, but it was okay. I'm not gonna complain because I'm still getting around, but nothing really going on. Just trying to get rid of a little bit of pain, little bit of pain. That's it. Not
Okay.
too much, not too much. Still, um, not too much. What about yourself?
Just this beautiful Sunday resting. Of course, I went out to the garden as I do every morning, but
Yeah.
I I planted again today. I planted today some russet potatoes.
And,
um,
and, and guess what? I saw this TikTok today. The lady was in her garden. She was like, "Look what I stumbled up on, a cucumber," and I thought all about you. And then they showed another one. They was like, "I went in my garden and look what I found," and the little peppers are all shriveled up.
mm-hmm.
I couldn't do nothing but think about you. I was like, "I bet you the trees out there in her garden like this
Girl,
lady."
yes. And when we finish, I'm gonna go out there
Mhm. Is
again.
it cool?
Yes, well, no, not cool. Just nice warm. It's not hot. But yeah, no, it's not cool. So, I did sit out there for a little bit on the deck, probably about an hour and just relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And then came on in for a little bit and started working on some other projects that I got going on.
Yes.
Um, so welcome everyone. Today is episode 9, day 5 of Kim
Yes.
and my 30-day challenge. And today we wanted to dive into something that I feel is kind of controversial. Um, I get a lot of disagreement on this, but I wanted to tap into, should men get paternity tests automatically? That's, hey, whether they're married or not. All right, you got any thoughts on that, Kim?
Well, I have mixed views. I think in some cases, sure, yes. In some cases, no. Like if you're with the person forever, you are there, you're in love, why you need a paternity test? But
Because anybody can cheat.
you're
I'm
right.
sorry, girl.
But if you are right there with the person, you're there all the time.
It don't take but 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah, but you're in love. You're
What?
there with the person you're in
But,
love. So
but
you're
here's the
saying,
thing: the guy don't know that you're in love. Like, let me say this: the guy knows you're in love because you say you're in love, and you may be acting like you're in love. But even in those situations where things are good, people step out. That's the only reason why I believe in it. I think it should be automatic because it doesn't really matter how the relationships are going. Some people are just cheaters.
yeah,
So being in love doesn't mean they're not over there doing something that they're not supposed to be doing.
yeah, okay.
And the other piece, the woman automatically knows that's her baby. That man
Yeah.
does not know that.
Mama's
And go ahead.
baby, daddy's maybe.
And you know why they say that? Because women have gotten away with putting the baby on someone. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. Um, so for me, it's just one of those that I feel should take place
Automatically.
automatically.
I
Even with raising my sons, I taught them that, hey, when you're dating, you need to let them know. Here's why. I remember when I got on social media when Facebook started, a few years, not a few years, some years back, but when it first, I guess, passed the college students, and all of a sudden it started going around, oh, Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. And so I started getting in touch with like old friends. And I would, like becoming their friends on Facebook. And I started seeing people saying, no, the dad is whoever feed them. And I'm like, oh, oh no. Uh-uh.
yeah,
So there are women who feel that they don't have to disclose that if the children have a man in their life. But I totally disagree.
yeah. But so if you're in a relationship and love there, you should be having communication and trust. So a relationship really is not going to work without those two components. A relationship, uh, um, without communication and trust. So you're saying if you're in a relationship with someone and you're in love and you're trusting that person and you become the woman becomes pregnant automatically, when the baby's here, they should have a paternity test. Period.
Absolutely. Yes. You know why? Pretty much
Why?
because of what you just said.
What?
Um, them being together and being in a good relationship, them men be finding out those kids are not theirs, or they gonna not all of them even find out. Some of them dead and gone, and someone find out the kids, when they're grown, that those were not their children, or they're 14, 15, 16. This stuff is happening all the time. Um, and people are married, or they just live together, girlfriend, boyfriend, been together for years. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you have, and here's let me say this: all relationships go through something.
Yes.
So no relationship is perfect. They can
Right.
have You have good relationships, you have great relationships, but they all go through something. If you
Mm-hmm.
find people that have been together, and I'm sorry, this is my little small world, 30
Okay.
plus, 40 plus years, oh, there's been some stuff. And when I
Right.
say some stuff, some stuff.
Right.
So if there's ever been a point that someone can step out, then there's always a probability. But if you make that automatic, and especially when you're talking about the one people don't like to talk about as much, child
What?
support, just
Mm-hmm.
child support, it should
Yeah.
be automatic. Because if you get a divorce, the sad part, if you get a divorce, um, that child support will automatically go to that husband, right? If they're,
Right.
I'm talking about if the child was born while you're married. But
Right.
if that person stepped out, right, and you took that woman's word and she stepped out and you didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
you're on the hook for a child that's not biologically yours financially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I also feel that it's something that should be automatic, because to walk around just saying, oh, we should just trust because we're in the relationship, or because we're married, or because our relationship is good during this time frame, that don't mean somebody wasn't doing something real quick. Go
Okay.
to
Well,
Zen.
let's.
Go look at Zencaster for me real quick while we're talking. Go ahead.
Okay. Is it fine?
Oh, I wanted you to keep talking. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was about to say, just to, not even to change it, but to piggyback off that, since you were talking about paternity tests and automatically they should get it. So if you're in a relationship and you've been married for a while, should you renew your marriage license? Should you renew your relationship?
Some people do. It's called renewing of the vows. Vow renewal. So yeah, I mean, people do that all the time.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so so
Especially if um they've been married. I think I've seen a lot at the 20-year mark. They do
mhm,
vow renewal. My husband and myself said we were gonna do it at 5. We didn't. Um, but people do it at different times. That's already a thing.
so you think license should be renewed?
Oh, you said
I'm
licenses.
license, not renewing your vows.
No.
License
No,
should
that
be.
no, I don't think it should be, but it can be, I guess, if they want. But if you're changing let me ask you this, how does that tie in? Because if you're changing the license, does it change the date of your marriage?
I don't
Why
know.
would
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you can end the relationship or walk out on the relationship or whatever you want to do. So I think it should be a set time in that time where you should be able to renew the license. You want to be,
girl,
you no longer want to be together, renew the license. Cut them
oh, hold on.
off.
You said if you no longer want to be together, renew
Because
the
a lot of people, yeah, a lot of
no,
people,
what I'm saying, if you don't want to be together anymore, why would you renew a license if you don't want to be
you
together?
have that choice. Say you want to renew your license.
Oh, you're talking about for marriage.
Yes, or well, not
Well,
relationship.
isn't
Well,
that just a divorce? Okay.
if you think it's important to renew a
Well, when
license,
you say no, because when you said if you want out, then renew your license. You wouldn't renew it; it would terminate. That's what's throwing me off. You said
right?
renew it. But if
So,
you want out, you're not going to renew it. You're going to terminate it, which is the same thing as a divorce.
well, I'm gonna say it like this. So,
Mhm.
say that you feel the relationship ran its course, but you're still married. Should the license end to say you're married?
I believe in divorce. If that's by you saying license, I think you're throwing me off. Do I believe in divorce? But now with what I'm studying, I do understand divorce entails a little bit more um biblically
Mm-hmm.
consequences, right?
Right.
So, which I always knew there was consequences. Let me say that, but I've been studying more on the true meaning of marriage,
Mm-hmm.
biblically speaking, and it's really a lot more to it than its ran its course. So when you say, "Do I believe that the license, which is to me a divorce,
Well,
should be terminated?"
let's just say we get married, and they can put a law on and say in 10 years you can renew your license to be married or not.
That's crazy. Okay, what happens in between the 2 years? Can you do it at any time before the 10 years?
Huh?
Can you do it at any time before the 10 years? What goes on in between the 10 years? Or do you have to wait to the 10 years? Like,
I
it doesn't make
make
sense to me.
you
No.
yeah, it
No, you're
doesn't
not
make
gonna
sense.
lock me in 10 years like you lock me in 5 years with a car note or lock me in with a mortgage. Because what's happening in between the 10 years? Why say in 10 years you can I don't understand the logic behind that.
Yeah, like renew your license. Say whether you want to, you renew your driver license. They can revoke them at any time, so you get them renewed.
Okay. But when you look at a commitment that's supposed to have something to do with God, your license don't got nothing to do with God. I don't I think that's now getting away from what marriage is supposed to be about. Because see, marriage
Mm-hmm.
is not truly intended for divorce. Okay. So let's be clear with that. So
Right.
tying in a license to from paternity test to license and marriage, I just don't think that goes together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the reason why I was saying DNA/paternity test was because of the infidelity that's very high. And the facts are it always has been. So I'm not saying that infidelity is brand new or the numbers are now astronomically high. Infidelity
Mm-hmm.
has forever been out here, right? However, with marriage in play and God's true creation for man and woman to be married and have children, that was to protect that family unit. And if you think about it, if the family unit is protected, it goes out in the world and the world is better. It's just a better place, in my personal opinion.
What's the better
But
place?
if you have the family unit, the husband, the wife, we're talking about on proper terms, God's way of living,
Okay.
um, then it will play out into your communities. That's why, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have children that are not in a mother, father, parent household, there are issues. Even when they become adults, there are going to be issues. Um, but if you have, I think it's stronger for the family and the community if you have a mother, father, the married family unit raising children. And again, this is biblically sound. This what I'm talking about, not the worldly way, because the worldly way believe marriage is all over the place. I think
Mm-hmm.
that ties into saying get a license. That's all over the place. God did not originally intend for us to divorce. That
Mm-hmm.
came upon Moses' introduction, right? Due to,
Yeah.
as biblically it says, the hardening of our hearts.
Right.
But when this marriage was created, which is not our institution, this is God's institution, and we're getting
Right.
away from that. We want to make up the terms of what a marriage should be and who it should be with. But the truth is, no, it wasn't supposed to be for divorce originally. Um, but
And
that
it,
happened and that came into play. So I don't if we make
and
it
what
worse now saying give you 10 years and you can decide.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah.
what I some parts of what I've understood is that how they got married in biblical days. There were no papers. It
Right.
was just at a
Absolutely.
feast, and
Mhm.
they gave the woman. The dad gave the woman to the man. The
Mhm.
woman moved in with the man,
Mhm.
had babies, and they were married.
Right.
So there was no paper, no preacher, no ring.
Right. Right. Right.
They
Yeah. What
were
was the
just
point of that
there.
though?
So they didn't take paternity tests.
Well, I understand they didn't take paternity tests, right? But
Right?
we have now moved, let's say,
Yeah.
eons down the road where you
Yes.
have not even just medical issues based on biological DNA, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can have sick children walking around. And here's the thing, life evolves, right? There's the advancement of life. So if you have where you have sick children and we don't know the true biological father because
Mm-hmm.
mom has lied, then that's not
Mm-hmm.
fair to a sick child, right?
Right.
So
Right.
back then they didn't have DNA, baby, because DNA wasn't there. It wasn't available, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean they shouldn't have had it? You can't say that because it wasn't introduced yet. But it's
Right.
here now. The to say, well,
And and I
they
and
didn't
I
have
agree.
paternity tests back then. Well,
They did.
no,
But
of
and
course
I
they
agree
did.
now because this nowadays this time
Mhm.
I agree somewhat. You should be having paternity tests because a lot of things are going on now. A lot of things.
Now, a lot of things have always been going on. That's why
Yeah,
paternity test came into
but
play.
and I say now because you know previous days we were sheltered from knowing these things, so now it's out in the open.
Kim, stop giving these women a pass. They're out
It's
here
out in
slanging it.
no, I'm not going past it's out in the open now. You didn't know we
You
were
taking out
it
these
wasn't in
women.
our faces. It wasn't in our faces so much.
Well, but we're past that stage and it's very obvious.
Yeah.
A lot of women want to compete with men, say they can do what the man can do, you know. And then some instances that could be the case, but
Why you
I'm not
say
gonna
that?
sling my body around because you slinging your body around. I'm just saying, but that's just a
Why
personal preference.
no? Why you say a lot of women want to compete with men? Why do
They
you say
say
that?
it. What do you mean? They
That's why
it's no, they want to, yeah, they want to be able to do the same thing that a man does. What do you mean?
I'm saying why do you call that competing? Why do you think they want to do the same thing as a man? Men want to do what women do. So what?
Uh, okay, now are you talking about homosexuality or are you talking about
That's
just in job wise? Because I was
in,
talking about more so in job wise. What are you referencing when you say
in
men?
general. In
No, you can't
general.
say in general because so that's what I just said. For me, when I say women want the competition, they want to do what men do. I'm talking about job wise, career wise. What are you
Okay, so
saying that
what
men?
men do? What
No,
women? What do men do that women want to do job wise?
I didn't say that. You said that. Oh, you said
No.
what do men do? Okay, for instance, like when I was in the, outside the military, once
Yeah.
I got out, let me tell you, once I got out, there's something called infantry, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've passed it to where now women can become. So I guess they won't be called infantry men; they're infantry women. Um, and infantry entails a little bit longer of, let's say, sleeping outside in the woods. That's cleanliness. It's a lot that goes with it. Um, and they do want those roles, and it eventually got passed, right?
Right.
So those are things that women do want to do, whereas it would be a man. Let's also go into when you look at mechanics, right? Being a mechanic, there are women who want to learn and be mechanics, right? Well, for me, I think that's more so of a man. I don't want to go up underneath the hood. I want a man that will go up underneath the hood for me.
But
So,
that's you.
right.
But they,
Exactly.
some women like to work on cars, fix on homes. Like that is not just a man's job.
No, no, no. I'm giving you some examples, right? Because I also said about the infantry part. You picked the part where it looked a little bit cleaner, but
Nope.
there's also some things like again, military, infantry that um it's not clean. It's just not a very clean sanitary, let me say it that way, sanitary thing for women.
What?
Um, but
What? What?
they fought for the right to be able to live like that. So
Mhm.
so that's why I say that. And I was talking about career wise, but when you say, because you said there are men who want to be like women,
Yeah.
what in what way?
Well, they would want. I mean, maybe women job. So I can't say that. I'm gonna take it back. I said it and I take it back because what's a woman's job? What's a man's job? I'm lost.
So I do believe in gender roles, right? Gender roles for certain stuff. And when I say gender roles, when you have a household, I do believe there are certain things the man should be doing. There are certain things that the woman should be doing. And for
So
me,
so a woman's job is to cook.
you
Quote,
didn't let me finish talking. You
quote,
interrupted. So you want me to finish it?
and quote. I just want to
Nope,
say,
because you didn't let me say it. You didn't let me say
and
it.
quote.
So
Okay.
I believe in gender roles, right? In a marriage unit. For one, you get structure. But I believe when it comes to fixing cars, taking
Mm-hmm.
cars to get washed, lawn
Mm-hmm.
service,
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that's my husband doing. Now, laundry, I think is more so mixed. Cooking, I think is mixed. Cleaning is mixed. Um, Stuff like
But
that.
that's a women's job.
Say it again.
But those supposed to be women's job.
But you just said those supposed to be women's job. I was just
But
telling you,
that's
not in my
not
household. I don't think
men.
that's a woman job. That's something that I think is simple. Cooking is simple. Washing clothes, doing laundry is simple. Cleaning is something simple. But when you're talking about manual cutting yards, edging the lawn, fixing cars. Okay, washing cars is not hard anymore. You just take it to the car wash, right? Um, there are differences in that. I don't want to go out there and get up on a car. I want my husband to do that. Now, I do know that there are some they do what do you call it, role reversals, but they still have separate. There are some where the man cook and the woman does, I don't know, maybe the yard, right? She's into beautifying the yard, so she handles the yard, but I don't think she cut the grass. Like at least the women that I know that do the landscaping, which is like the flowers, the shrubs. They don't cut their grass though. Their
Mhm,
husbands cut their grass.
mhm. But so you
So
say, go ahead.
you said so. I say that was. I think that was pretty much.
Yeah. So you say you biblically. I'm going there too. So
Mhm.
you say that those they should be doing men. That's a woman's and a man's job together, cleaning, cooking, those little bitty things. But we go back again, and I tell you that it says women are to be nurturers. We are to do home. We are to take care of our kids, show them how to take care of their home and their man. That's what it says. And it says a man is supposed to be the provider. So, which way are
So
you
you
living?
think with being a provider, he's not supposed to raise and structure his children? What do you mean by provider?
I didn't say the Bible says that
But
a
but
woman
what does it elaborate in? What does
is
it
supposed
mean?
a woman is supposed to nurture and teach their daughters or sons, daughters, because it says daughters in there, or kids, how to take care of their homes, cook, tend to their business, tend to their own business. That is what it says. And the man
So
is
is it
supposed
is it
to.
daughters or is it children?
Let me go back and make sure it's not saying just daughters.
Yeah, because it's gonna matter. So if it's daughters, then who's doing anything with the sons? If it's just the women supposed to
But
nurture.
if it says she's supposed to be at home nurturing, if it's a male or a female, she's supposed to be nurturing both.
Oh no, I'm asking because you said daughters and then
Yeah,
children. I
I'm
just want to
gonna
know
go
which
back
one it
because
is.
I'm
That's
going to
all.
add and I'm going to take away. I'm not adding, I'm not taking away, but I'm
Yeah,
going back and check and make sure it says daughters or children.
right.
But I know what it says that. So that's what I'm saying. Which way? What do you
Which
believe?
that? You said it says that. What do you mean?
It says that a woman is supposed to be a nurturer. She's supposed to be at home
Oh,
taking care
mm-hmm.
of the daughter, teaching them how to take care of home and their husband, their man, and how to mind their own business. That is what it says. And it says a man's supposed to be a provider. That is what it
Okay.
says. It says the first year when a man takes a woman, he's supposed to be at home and treating her like a queen. That is what it says. Her didn't say it about the kids. It says he's supposed to be treating her like a queen for the first year. Now after that, I haven't really got
Oh, hold
into it.
on. For the first, it gave it in specific terms of in the first year.
You did.
Huh. I'm gonna have to study that tomorrow. I, I
Got
don't
it.
I don't think I've ever heard that the where it says in the first year. So then what happened? So
Here.
so do
I,
you think the Bible gives a step by step in? in life?
I do, because I think it's a blueprint, and I live by it, because if I go through
Oh,
anything, I'm gonna
hold
I'm
on.
gonna
You said
look
it's
it
a
up.
blueprint for.
I,
Are you saying in a? Remember, I said step by step.
it is, that's step by step a blueprint.
Correct. And you think the Bible actually gives you step by step?
I do.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
now I do, because you can go in there and ask Google to ask the Bible something that's pertaining to you, and it's gonna give you scriptures to you, for
Hmm.
you, not for
Hmm.
you to give to me, but for you, because you're asking it.
I believe the Bible is a blueprint, but I don't believe it's a step by step. That I don't. It don't give you step by step for life. There are
Well,
things in between that you have got to go in there and figure out. Especially when we get on the part about nurturing. For one, we got to find out if it is nurturing the children, or if it's specific as what you're saying, because then I think there's going to be more context that's missing if it is specific to just nurturing daughters. Because if we have boys and girls, and if the
mm-hmm.
woman is to nurture daughters, and you're saying the man's just supposed to provide, what is happening to the sons? And that's why it's, when I say something, I want to be careful, because it can't be loosely stated, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was asking about the nurturing part. What does it actually say?
Mm-hmm. We don't have
Because
time for me to look it
yeah,
up.
right.
Yeah,
No, but
but
I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, I'm gonna look
revisit.
into that tomorrow. That's a
Yeah,
good one. That's a good one
will
for me to
revisit.
study
Yes,
on.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it is just nurturing daughters, then that do
Mm-hmm.
tells me, then okay, something's missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and meaning, not that it's not in the Bible, I gotta find it, right? That deep
Right.
dive study to find, then what is he saying about boys? And then another thing that I'm learning with this studying the Bible, these words don't mean exactly what we think they say, what they mean in English, because the translation. That's another thing that I've been studying. And that's why I was asking you specifically what it said, children or daughters, and then even with the nurturing and then the provider part. So that deep studying of the Bible, when you're finding out about the translation and how it got twisted, it's a lot. It gets heavy. Like with work, I learned work is not your job. Work is you. You are the work, not going to a job. And I'm 48 and just realizing this. That's what also helped turn my thought process to go really heavy on this entrepreneurship thing, because the work is me. That's what it is. So it just takes a lot of studying to ensure that the translation is proper and not how we see it as far as the word that we use here in the English term. That's all. When it was, originally translated biblically. So we
And
say, like Hebrew and all that other stuff.
that's why you have to read the whole the passage in content, so that you know, and read it in more than one.
You got
Um,
to get it from Hebrew. So Hebrew translation is huge in their language at the time to tell you what that stuff means. You can't just read the regular Bible and get it.
that's right.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna be lost. Yeah.
different Bibles to make sure that
Yep.
all of them line up the same. Even if
Hmm.
I on Google, it better line up with a Bible that I have in this home. That
Hmm.
I That's the only way it has to line up.
Right.
So yeah, but we will revisit. We will
Yeah, that's a
revisit.
good one. But we didn't get to finish on the thing about the paternity test. But it's about time for
We
us to
kind of
go.
did.
They're always so short, huh?
We kind of summed it up like we need. You feel they need paternity tests in this climate in this day. Yeah, I agree with you somewhat.
Right. I wanted to I was gonna try to put some comments in the chat, but I didn't get to do that in reference to the paternity test thing, because we got on about the marriage. Um I need to go over that to see how we can start implementing the comment stuff. But yeah.
And we will jump because it's raw.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're gonna jump.
We will talk about whatever it's coming, whatever feels right or whatever spirit wants us to talk about. We will jump from here to there. So keep joining in. We
Yes.
surely
Now tomorrow we don't know where we're gonna go, but We'll be here. Um, or do
But
we? Wait a minute. Do we know what we're going to talk about? We did.
we will
Real
be
quick.
revisiting the nurturing.
Yes. Because also with that, I think it's good to bring that part in because with the nurturing and the men being providers, these marriage homes are broken. How are we going to repair them? Because but you can't repair them all because they are not all about being biblically sound. They just aren't. So, but we're talking about being biblically sound. How does that get corrected, right? And then that also going to go into about the should men get paternity tests automatically. And I'm gonna tell you, I still believe they should get it done because no one is perfect. Only because people aren't perfect. That's the only reason why I believe in it. There's no such thing as perfection. No matter what life we're living, things happen.
That's right.
And look, I got 4 boys. I want to know if those are really truly my grandbabies. So I'm sorry. Anyone in the future that marries my sons, yes, we are going to get that done. So
okay.
But what tomorrow? We kind of went over what's going to be tomorrow. You wanted to discuss
nurturing.
It was one other thing too.
About when should we be cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner for our little ones?
Yes, tune in. Yeah, we want to tap into whether or not parents, well, the timeline for when parents should start letting their children, their little ones, start to gain a little independence. So what's happened to those things tomorrow? Nurturing, providing, and independency for the children. That's a good one.
Okay.
All right. So check us out tomorrow, you guys. We are 3 minutes over, and I know my boss is upset, but yeah, we won't be as bad tomorrow. So
have a good night.
From Startup to Takeover, Watch Us Work podcast. We are out. We will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.
Good night.